Welcome to day 1 of our daily fraction. What you'll want to do is go ahead and write your number and your name here so that you can always keep track of your things. Then go ahead and pull this out so that you can highlight one square to represent our very first day of doing our daily fraction this year. Okay, so I'm going to push it back in. And then you're going to use, it's best to use a highlighter, but you can also use a pencil. Don't use anything dark because it'll show through on the other side and we'll need the other side in the future. Go ahead and get your dry erase marker. And now we're going to start off with writing our fraction, our beginning fraction. So our denominator for our fraction is the total amount of school days, which is 180. So the denominator is the total amount. The numerator is going to be the days we've completed or we're currently in, and we're in day 1. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to find all the factors for the number 1. And factors are the numbers that multiply together to make 1. Well, there's two factors that we always know, and that is 1 and the number itself. 1 times 1 makes 1. That's the only thing that will work. Factors have to be whole numbers and positive numbers. So these are the only options here. So that means our factor, if I list them from least to greatest, is 1. 1 has exactly one factor, which is 1. Now we're going to look at these questions. Is it prime or composite? Now these may be new terms to you. Prime means it has exactly 2 factors. Does it have exactly 2 factors? No, it has 1, so it's not prime. Composite means that it has more than 2 factors. Nope, doesn't have more than 2 factors. This is the only counting number that is neither prime nor composite. All the rest will fall into one of those 2 categories. Okay, now what we're going to do is find our greatest common factor. So the largest factor for both the numerator and denominator, we always start with the first one, which is 1. It's the only one we have. And what we do then is we go and we make groups of 1. So go through, make groups of 1. Okay. You do not have to go the way I go. You may find a faster way to do it. But in this case, as long as each group is a group of 1, it does not matter how you make your groups. So we will be doing this process every single day that we're in school, because we're looking at school days. And once we get there, yes, everything is in its own group and there are no remainders. So that means 1 is our greatest common factor. So since 1 is our greatest common factor, now we can look and see, well, how many total groups of 1 do we have? Well, each row has 10 in them, so I can count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180. And how many groups of 1 are shaded in? 1. So now if we look at the equation, we have our beginning fraction, which we divided into groups of 1, both the shaded part and the entire thing. 1 divided by 1 is 1. 180 divided by 1 is 180. We can look at our long division. partial quotients to help us with this. So 180 divided by 1. Well, let's see. 100 times 1 is 100. More on top. No need to stop. So I subtract. Okay. 80 times 1 is 80. Number is the same. 0 is a game. So our remainder is 0. We add up these partial quotients. I get 180. 1 divided by 1 is 1. Okay, and we can prove it with what's called our inverse operation. So our inverse operation is the divisor, which is 1, times our quotient, which is 180, plus our remainder, which is 0. Now, since it's 0, and the identity property of addition says when you add 0, it stays the same, we don't actually need to do that. So 180 times 1. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 1 is 1. This is called the identity property of multiplication. And every time you multiply by 1, it stays the same. Okay, and then we do our numerator. 1 times 1 is 1. So we just checked for sure that 1 over 180 is our fraction. So now we're going to go ahead and put that in our data collection form and our number line. So this is our data collection page. You have a place to put your heading. It's always important to put your heading on in case this gets out of your folder. It can get returned to you, so always make sure you put your number and your name. And then every day we fill this in to keep track of our fraction for the day. So we are in trimester 1 and we are in week 1. This represents Monday through Friday. We did not have school on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. The only time we X out any boxes is when you're missing a day or 2 or 3 within a week. We do not cross out a whole week. So during this whole year, we will not be crossing out more than a few days. We will not cross out a whole week. So today we're starting. It is 8/8/19 is our date, and our fraction for today is 1 out of 180. Okay, and then next what we do is we get out our number line. So this is your number line or set of number lines. And the top row has all the numbers representing our 180 days. 1 out of 180 all the way to the very last one, which is 180 out of 180. So this represents our group of 1 days. They're already in there because they're so small it's hard to write. So here's today's 1 out of 180. That is our fraction for today. You don't have to fill it in. The only ones you don't have to fill in are when we do groups of 1. The rest you will. So let's go ahead and put your number line away. Erase your worksheet. And thank you for joining me.